This is a video for chapter number 10, problem number 9, one of the harder calculations this semester, called effective interest versus the straight line method that we saw back in problem 7. Again, amortizing or using up, not discount, but a premium. We got some extra money over the par value of our bond. Here we have Prairie Dunes Company issuing bonds on January 1st. The par value is $770,000. This is the amount that has to be paid back. This is the money we're borrowing, and this is the amount that has to be paid back on maturity. The bond's annual contract rate, stated right on the bond, is 12% a year. So that means every 6 months we're going to pay 6% of this $770,000. That's going to be paid on June 30th and December 31st. And the bonds are going to last 3 years, matures in 3 years. But everybody else is paying a lower interest rate of 10%. So when we sell our bonds, we can get more than the par value. Here it says that we sold it for $809,071. And the instructions for our homework is to fill out this table. So here is that money that we borrowed. Let me get my pencil. So this so-called carrying value is equal to the par value of $770,000 plus the extra we got, the premium. Again, if you take the difference between the par value and the amount of money we got, the extra is the premium we got, and we get to keep it because we only have to pay back this $770,000. Now if we got less than the par value, the difference would be called a discount, like we saw back in problem number 7. So this carrying value is equal to the par, the bond payable face value, plus the premium. And every 6 months, every interest payment period, we're going to amortize this premium, reduce it. And here you can see eventually the carrying value is going to equal the par value upon the maturity date. Now, the way we reduce this premium account is not divided by the 6 payments here like we saw for the straight line method, but we're using again the effective interest method using this 10% market rate. Okay, so the in filling out this first column, the actual interest we have to pay is that simple interest calculation we've been using throughout the whole semester. So that would be the principal, which is the par value here, $770,000, times the interest rate, here stated on the bond to be 12%. But because we pay every 6 months, not every year, our time factor is half a year. So when you multiply this out, every 6 months we're going to pay out the bond holders $46,200. Okay, so and that's for the first, second, this is the first year, the second year, and then the third year. So here's the total cash we're paying. But keeping in mind, we get to keep this extra money when we sold the bond. So that's really going to reduce the interest expense versus the interest we have to pay. Okay, so now to get the actual interest for the first 6 months, you're going to take this carrying value, think of this like the principal, and we're going to multiply it by not the 12% rate which we use for this column, but the market rate of 10%. And because we're doing this every 6 months, that's half a year. So when you multiply all this out, this comes out to interest or amortization of $40,454. Now the actual interest we paid out was this amount here. So if you take the difference between the two, that's the amount of premium we're using up or amortizing. So you're reducing the premium by this amount here. The difference between these two columns here, okay, is equal to this. And we're reducing the balance by this amortization to get the unamortized portion. So now the carrying value here is going to be the original par value minus this unamortized amount. Okay, so here's the amount we're now borrowing for the next 6 months. And again, you take the interest rate, 10%, for the next 6 months, half a year, to get the interest for the second period. And again, you're still paying the same amount of interest, but the difference between these two is the amount of amortization for the second period. Again, reducing the previous unamortized balance, reducing the carrying value. So as you can see, you keep on following the same pattern all the way up to this last 6th period, okay, where you have to zero out this column. So all you're doing is just taking this amount here and saying that's your amortization to get 0 left over. And 0 minus from the 770 is going to give you that original par value. Okay, so this is the effective method, effective interest method to amortize a premium. Now it's also possible to do the effective method to amortize a discount, although again in problem 7 we had used the straight line method and not this effective interest method.